So I think what the value added is of these practices is that it creates, I think, for students, a sense of belonging, connection, and identity with the institution, particularly at a larger institution. I think it helps us scale down the institutional experience for students. I think for faculty who often only interact with students in a formal classroom setting, it allows them to know a lot more about the lives of students away from the class in which the faculty might interact with that student. And at least I know that faculty have told me it's really changed the way that they've approached their teaching because they now understand that perhaps their class is not the most important thing in a student's life. And I think it changes the way that parents and prospective students evaluate the institution when they see faculty actively engaged in students' lives outside of the classroom, when they see this vibrant sense of community engagement in a residence hall that might otherwise not be occurring without the intentional faculty connections. I think all of those things really help contribute to this idea of high-impact practice.
If I was talking to a colleague about the value-added elements of residential learning communities, I would probably encourage them to think about how they can help students bridge what they're learning in the classroom with the sort of student life experience that they're having in the residence hall and where they can make those connections. I think sometimes students really see those as two separate things. And what I think is a benefit of the learning community experience is that you can continue that conversation, that exploration from the classroom in the residence halls. You can start to see how all of these pieces are interconnected and sort of stop compartmentalizing the student experience in ways that I think is not beneficial to students. And so I think I would encourage somebody to think about how can you help students see that they can continue this outside the classroom and kind of provide them with suggestions or remind them that it doesn't have to stop here.
I think living learning programs probably have the strongest impact on learning through the peers, to be honest with you. While obviously the courses and the faculty interaction are important, I think what makes a residential learning community the most impactful is the residential piece. That these are students that they see in class and out of class, that they learn alongside with 24 hours a day, not just 2 hours a day or 1 hour a day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This is an activity in which they truly are immersed in each other's worlds, and that's where the real learning takes place. They may not even see it themselves, the students. They may not realize that the conversation they're having at dinner is a holdover from something they were just talking about in class. But it is. That's what's happening to them. And that's, I think, the most wonderful part, and the part that is always the most interesting to me, is the seamlessness of it, that the students don't even realize what's happening to them. We almost feel like we're sort of, grand manipulators, because they don't even know what's happening, but yet learning is occurring in all spaces. It's wonderful.
I would say that one of the most important things to consider when creating a living learning community or residential college is to really think about the academic experience for students and to be mindful what outcomes are expected of the community, and then how the academic experience kind of helps students get there. The co-curricular experience, I think, is important as well, and certainly the integration piece, but without that academic piece, I'm not sure that a community will be effective.
The value added for students is that if you the earlier you become a more proactive learner, the more successful you are going to be in your own life and in what ultimately is of importance to families and students when they come to university in their own professional lives and careers, right? Too many students go through 4 years of university and only discover this tragically at the very end, right? That ideas are cool. Learning is cool. It's something more than simply the completion of a rote set of exercises. that has to be reversed, I think, and that's really the value added for students, because then they get more time at university.
Students spend about 80% of their time where they live. So we have them as a captive audience. And we know that their brains don't turn off right when they walk into where they live. So how can we capture that, be intentional about their learning both in and outside the classroom, and that we have a shared mission with the faculty. So the faculty and the student affairs staff, we are all partners in this initiative and in this endeavor, and why not use all the spaces we have for learning to make a difference and make an impact on our students' lives?